in Mumbai today for a crucial two-day visit fortifying the India-UK Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. Now, following the landmark Free Trade Agreement and Vision Document 2035, which was signed earlier, Starmer's talks with Prime Minister Modi will aim to double bilateral trade by 2030, capitalizing on the Free Trade Agreement's 99.1% tariff-free lines. Now, the visit will highlight the Technology Security Initiative, advancing AI, quantum tech, green hydrogen, also innovation. India may also raise concerns over Khalistani activities in the UK, seeking stronger action against separatist elements. Discussions will certainly cover the defence industrial roadmap for co-production and a climate partnership to boost clean energy. With 170,000 Indian students in the UK and a dynamic 2.6% Indian diaspora fueling economic growth, Starmer's visit, joined by a 100-strong business delegation, seeks to deepen ties in fintech, in education, health. It unites two global powers for prosperity and for security. So what we thought we'd do is give you an outline of where the relationship is. It is one of our most important strategic partnerships. So what we thought we'd do is give you an idea of the basis of the equation between India and the United Kingdom. Consider this. There's a comprehensive strategic partnership. It's been elevated to a new level, guided by the Roadmap 2030 and the Vision 2035 document for long-term multi-sector cooperation. There's the historic Free Trade Agreement concluded in May. That's a comprehensive pact projected to double bilateral trade, which stands at about $56 billion by 2030. A focus on critical technology, strategic collaboration through the Technology Security Initiative, which prioritizes R&D in AI, quantum, critical materials, and future telecoms as well. So that focus on critical technology is so important. There's a deepened defense and security relationship, always been a key part of the equation, which promotes co-development and co-production of defense products, supported by regular defense exercises, some of which are in fact going on right now. Strong people-to-people links facilitated by migration and mobility partnerships and the Young Professional Scheme, leveraging a large and influential Indian diaspora in the United Kingdom. There's been cooperation in health and education. Let's not forget about Covishield, which came from AstraZeneca, that saved the lives of countless people. Huge in terms of the manufacture of that COVID vaccine in India, for India and the world. And of course, there is education as well. So many Indian students travel in and study in the United Kingdom. So cooperation in health and education, absolutely critical, but also in terms of professionals such as nurses who have a key role to play within the British health system.
It's a very important year for the UK-India partnership. An FTA has been signed and much more is on the anvil. Taking this partnership forward has been the effort of both the governments of the United Kingdom and the government of India. Joining me now is Howard Dubber, Deputy Mayor of London for Business, Order of the British Empire. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here in Mumbai. This has been an important year for the UK-India partnership. We've had the FTA, but it's also been a year of global uncertainties. What do you think is, of course, going forward? What do you expect in the coming year? And how is this relationship between the UK and India likely to strengthen in a year full of uncertainties?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me on. Look, the relationship between UK and India, as we all know, goes back for many, many centuries, and particularly over the last 20, 30 years has been very strong in the face of an increasingly divided and complicated world. And in these times of global uncertainties and geopolitical change, that strong relationship has never been more important, which is why that free trade agreement signed between our two governments has provided a platform for real future economic growth and collaboration. And I'm very pleased that my friend Sir Keir Starmer will be here later this week, here in Mumbai. And this is really an opportunity for growing new businesses, new collaborations, and for UK and India to work together to sell our great products and services to the world.
The Mayor of London launched this campaign, London is Open. And, that is something that really welcomed a lot of Indian businesses, students to the UK, to London specifically. But in the light of recent events, protests against immigrants, that has kind of left a lot of people worried, and they have concerns about whether London is really open and whether the UK is really open. How would you address those concerns?
Well, I would say that the people have got legitimate concerns about immigration and how immigration affects them. But in London, the vast majority of citizens are supportive of our amazing, diverse and international community, with people who not just come from over the world, but who for decades and for generations have made their life in London. We've got over 500,000 people of Indian origin or Indian family background in London. It's a massive part of our city. Obviously, our mayor is of Pakistani origin. My predecessor as deputy mayor was of Indian origin. In fact, I am 1/16th because my great-grandfather, my mum's grandfather, was born in Ahmednagar, just up the road from here. So I'm partly Maharashtri. London is absolutely open to the world, and the vast majority of people in London are very, very supportive and welcoming of people from all over. And our universities, with our 200,000 international students, the most international students of anywhere in the world, are absolutely very, very keen on having more students from India, because they bring not only the cultural diversity, but they bring their brain power, and 20% of them stay on to start businesses or to work in London, and that's hugely important for our city.
Well, joining us now to look at the trajectory of the India-UK relationship, Gayatri Sar Kumar, India's former High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Thanks, ma'am, very much for being with us. We've got Vinayak Dalmia, technology entrepreneur, also somebody looking very closely at the relationship, and Ambassador Ashok Sajjanar with us as well. Ambassador Kumar, let me come to you first, ma'am. I think the big buzz is the free trade agreement. It's going to take a little bit of time in the United Kingdom before it actually comes into effect, into force. Could you give us a sense of the potential of the free trade agreement? How does it benefit India?
Thank you, Vishnu. First of all, I must say I'm absolutely delighted at the signing of the agreement and the fact that it will be operationalized at last. It is going to be the most comprehensive FTA that India will operationalize with any trade partner. We've gone into our 26 chapters. We've gone well beyond our normal trade agenda and we've gone to gender, innovation, SMEs, to give the maximum exposure to our exporters and to give the maximum access to our exporters across the board. And this has come at a time when the US tariffs and the EU CBAMs are looming on our horizon, so they bring a lot of relief. And don't forget that the UK has been our biggest trading partner within the EU, and the EU itself is one of our biggest trading partners. So between US and China and the EU, it's always one of them at the top. So when Brexit happened, that was the time that we were wondering how we are going to go forward with this market out of the EU, and that became a priority. Trade became the top priorities of our two prime ministers when they first spoke after Brexit in March 2020 itself.
Right. Vinayak Dalmia, as a technology entrepreneur, how do you see the potential in terms of deep tech collaboration between India and the UK?
Vishnu, thank you for having me here. So, the era that we're living through here is technology foreign policy. And you're going to see that time and again amongst major trading partners and amongst major strategic partnerships between countries, that technologies and critical technology, or what you consider deep technology, is going to be front and central. Now, with this agreement and with the sort of blessing of the two leaders, it opens the floodgates on what's possible. In my opinion, there are 3 or 4 big takeaways that can be possible, right? Number one, we should expect to see interesting movement in military technology cooperation. Number two, there will be a lot of opportunity in semiconductor cooperation. And number 3, you will see or should see a lot of cooperation in the area of artificial intelligence. We should hope to see increased partnerships B2B, so business to business, which will include young companies and startups. And you should also expect to see B2G, which is between businesses and governments on both sides. And I think the other important thing I'd like to highlight here is something that both leaderships announced last year, which is the TSI, the Technology and Security Initiative. That umbrella, along with this trade partnership, will really open the floodgates on deep tech and critical technology partnership.
Ambassador Sajana, there are problems in the relationship as well, not least of all the support to Khalistani separatists in the United Kingdom. It's something that India has brought up time and time again. There have been instances of attacks, for example. How do you believe that this is something that's likely going to come up?
Oh, it will definitely come up, Vishnu. Thank you for having me on the show. It is definitely, one of the important elements of our bilateral cooperation, and definitely it's going to be taken up, and India is going to push that strong and hard. And we have also, in terms of the Indian diaspora that is there. That is a very important element of a partnership. That is a very important element of our relationship. And that tends to get affected because of the activities of the such elements, the Khalistani elements. Definitely that is going to come up. If you permit, I will just add one or two sentences to what we've been discussing, Vishnu, on the India-UK FTA, which, comes into operation next year. Because, I fully agree with what Gayatri has said, 26 chapters, the most comprehensive FTA that we have signed with any other country. You see, I have been in the WTO and I have negotiated for India on many of these trade agreements. And we have always kept issues like environment, issues like labor, we have kept them out. But they are front and center as far as this agreement is concerned. It is not only as far as goods and services, but it is IPRs, it is government procurement. Government procurement has also been anathema for us when we have, when there has been demand and requirements for introducing them, including them. So, as India is going into with other countries, these are demands that are going to be there. And I think this will be a very good test case, even as far as EU is concerned.
Sure.
Because Gayatri did mention CBAM. I think that is an important element that we have to look out for. But, environment is something that we have to get a balanced outcome of.
Yeah.
So whether it is with this, whether it is some of the others, even with the United States, when you have this mini bilateral trade agreement, I think this will really serve as a template on the basis of which we can construct our future FTAs.
Let's hope we get that deal in one way, shape or form with America. We'll have to wait for that. Vinayak, what are some of the other key technology areas that you would like to see prospering? Because jet engine technology is something that's been discussed. AI is something which has been looked at as well. Also quantum. So in terms of specifics, what can you share with us?
So I think, Vishnu, like you rightly said, right, the gamut of critical technologies are going to be dual use. So they will have military applications, but also commercial. And in addition to aerospace and defense and AI, I think the other third area, which is going to create opportunities between, like I keep saying, B2B and B2G, is going to be in semiconductors. I think both India has a very strong national mission and a very strong design talent. We also have a strong domestic market. And the UK historically has some interesting technologies and IP and companies in semiconductors, both from a design and fabrication perspective. So semiconductors in particular, if you ask me, could become an interesting area of collaboration between the two countries, both for the sort of commercial markets as well as for the defense market.
Ambassador Kumar, I was talking about education and the fact that 170,000 odd Indian students go to the United Kingdom to study, but there's a great demand for British universities to come here as well. We can talk about AI and quantum and tech and all of that's great, but I think for a lot of our viewers who seek education, how is this at one level a very critical part of the partnership?
Yes, it's a fantastic development that two universities are coming into the GIFT framework, and they will be operationalizing in January and later in the next year. This is important because Scholarly and literary flows between India and the UK have been a tradition for decades now, and our students are very much valued. We have world-class universities in our own country, but we are going to be able to give students more options, more choices, maybe at a more economical cost, and that develops an ecosystem within our own country. The foreign universities also find it in their interest to develop this catchment area for then taking scholars who are excellent to their centers of excellence. So I think it would be a wonderful symbiotic arrangement between our universities and the UK universities, and I'm really looking forward to more coming in. This was a huge area of our work when we were at the High Commission in London.
Ma'am, let me ask you this as well. The defense relationship between both sides so important. Now, the United Kingdom over a period of time has seen its strategic presence shrink as a result of declining budgets. On the other hand, we've got these growing and excellent military ties between India and the United Kingdom. They're going on right now, naval exercises between the two. So again, how is that strategic partnership important at two levels? One, military to military, but also from a technology standpoint, because we are talking about jet engine technology as well.
As you had mentioned in your very comprehensive overview, defense exercises, joint exercises are a good thing. They help the interoperability. But we have been talking about moving on to the next qualitative level, which is of co-development of technology and co-production of technology. That becomes a win-win for the UK, for us, because we have the competitive advantages of location and the expertise in India, and at the same time technology which is being developed in the universities and in the labs in UK. Modern warfare is going to depend a lot on technology and innovation and secrecy and all of that. So it's important to build trust. I think that's another very, very important factor that has to come in. And that has to be worked on in the other areas of the other tracks of our relationship, because you cannot have a flourishing defense and security partnership as we would like to realize and as we would like to achieve the full potential that both our countries have based on our complementary strengths, if the basic sensitivity to each other's security interests and security concerns is not proven, not only spoken about and vocalized, but proven on the ground.
Ambassador Sajana, last question to you. In as much as we talk about the future of this relationship, I can't but help think about the recent past, COVID, and the fact that AstraZeneca tied up with the Serum Institute of India. Research done in Oxford in the United Kingdom resulted ultimately in the manufacture of billions of vials of life-saving COVID vaccines here in India, which serve not just India but around the world. If you look at the relationship, that would be one of the most significant aspects in the history, I would argue, of the India-UK relationship in terms of a partnership that ultimately saved lives.
No, absolutely. You're very right, Vishnu. I think that was an unprecedented cooperation. It was not, as you said it very rightly, it was not only, so very significant for India, because, whenever such, of course, not of such magnitude, but whenever pandemics have taken place, India itself has been at the receiving end. It has had to import these vaccines. There has hardly been any manufacture of these vaccines within the country right at the time when you need it. So here it was that, when the COVID struck in late 2019 or early 2020, then by the end of the year, it was the developed countries which have started vaccinating their people with Pfizer, Moderna vaccines, etc. And as far as India is concerned with this Covishield, we were able to start our vaccination on the 16th of January 2021, you would recall. So, within about a year or so, which again is unprecedented. And as you put it very correctly, Vishnu, on the 20th of January, we were sending out these vaccines in our immediate neighborhood. It went to Bangladesh, it went to Bhutan, it went to Nepal, and very soon also to Sri Lanka, Maldives, And by the end of it, we had sent out more than 300 million doses of these vaccines, Vaccine Maitri initiative, to more than 100 countries. And this is, of course, without referring also to the large quantities of medicines that were sent out. But in addition to that, Gayatri has been there, and all of us, who visit that place, we know as far as the NHS is concerned, the National Health Service is concerned, how many Indian doctors, that really is the backbone of the health system as far as the United Kingdom is concerned.
Yep.
And that has been under a huge challenge, that has been under a huge stress. Even not only doctors, as far as nurses are concerned, there are so many of them from India. So I think health, education, and of course technology, I would really mention that these are really at the top of our in terms of the pecking order where we can go. Of course, not to deny, FDA has its own significance, particularly in the context of this weaponization of markets that we see by the United States. But I think that is going to be very important.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you, Ambassador Kumar, Ambassador Sajjadar and Vinayak Dalmia, for joining us. Let's see where the relationship takes us.